By the time I saw the 7th transaction on my cancer fund account, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. $82,417. Gone. And the name on the transfer? My daughter Lindsay. The same daughter I'd raised alone after her mother left us. The same daughter who'd promised to help manage the donations while I went through chemotherapy. She thought her smile and her 200,000 Instagram followers gave her immunity. I'm Robert Fletcher, 63 years old, retired high school history teacher from Ann Arbor, Michigan. For 37 years, I taught kids that actions have consequences, that integrity matters, that family is sacred. I believed those things. I built my life on them. And 3 months ago, when Dr. Stevens told me I had stage 2 esophageal cancer, I thought my family would rally around me the way I'd always rallied around them. I was wrong. Let me take you back to February 14th, Valentine's Day. The day that changed everything, though I didn't know it yet. I was sitting in that sterile examination room, the one that smells like antiseptic and fear, waiting for test results. The tissue in my throat had been bothering me for months. I'd ignored it, like most men my age do. Probably just acid reflux, I told myself. Too much coffee. Too much stress from trying to make my teacher's pension stretch. Dr. Stevens came in with that look. You know the one. The look that says your life is about to split into before and after. Robert, I'm afraid it's cancer. The room tilted. Not because I was scared of dying, exactly. I'd made peace with mortality years ago. But because of the girls. My daughters. Lindsay, 28. And Emma, 25. I'd raised them alone since Lindsay was 6 and Emma was 3. When their mother, Rebecca, decided that motherhood and marriage were oppressive constructs and left us for an artist colony in New Mexico. Never sent child support, never called on birthdays. Just gone. So I became both parents. I was the one who braided hair for dance recitals, the one who sat through middle school band concerts and high school graduation ceremonies. I worked extra hours tutoring students to afford their college. When Lindsay wanted to study marketing at Michigan State, I took out loans. When Emma chose nursing at University of Michigan, I refinanced the house. And they turned out so different. Emma became everything I'd hoped. Compassionate. Hardworking. She worked double shifts at St. Joseph's Hospital. Came by every Sunday for dinner. Called me Dad. In that warm way that made me feel like all the sacrifice meant something. Lindsay became something else. She started an Instagram account during college called Luxury Lindsay. At first, it was harmless. Makeup tutorials, outfit posts. But after graduation, it morphed into something uglier. She documented every expensive restaurant, every designer handbag, every first-class flight. She called it aspirational content. I called it showing off things she couldn't afford. Because Lindsay didn't have a job, not a real one. She lived with her fiancé Tyler in a downtown Detroit loft that cost $4,000 a month. Tyler worked in tech, made good money, but even he couldn't fund Lindsay's lifestyle. So she monetized her followers. Sponsored posts, affiliate links. And when that wasn't enough, she came to me. Dad, can you help me with rent this month? Just $2,000. I'll pay you back. None D. I helped. Because that's what fathers do. Dad, my car broke down. The repair is $3,500. I helped again. Dad, Tyler and I are getting married. I need help with the venue deposit. $15,000. I promise, this is the last time. I gave her the money. Liquidated part of my retirement account. Because I wanted her to be happy. Because I thought marriage might settle her down. Because I'm an idiot who confused enabling with love. Then came the cancer diagnosis. I sat my daughters down that same evening. Lindsay showed up 40 minutes late, filming an outfit of the day video in my driveway. Emma had rushed over straight from her shift, still in scrubs, eyes red from crying the moment I'd called. Girls, I need to tell you something. Lindsay kept checking her phone. Emma held my hand. I have esophageal cancer. Stage 2. It's treatable, but the treatment is aggressive. Surgery, chemotherapy, possibly radiation. The insurance will cover most of it. But there's still going to be significant out-of-pocket costs. Probably $30,000 to $40,000. Emma squeezed my hand tighter. We'll figure it out, Dad. I have savings. Dad. You'll be fine, Lindsay interrupted, not looking up from her phone. You're strong. You've got this. Then, after a pause, how much did you say the out-of-pocket would be? 30 to 40,000. That's like a lot. She finally made eye contact. Do you have that? Not liquid. I'd have to sell some investments. Maybe take a loan against the house. God, that sucks. She stood up. Well, I should go. Tyler and I have dinner reservations, but keep us updated, okay? She kissed my forehead, the way you'd pat a dog, and left. Emma stayed until midnight. We cried together, made plans. She insisted on going to every appointment with me. The next day, I started a GoFundMe. I hated asking for help. But Emma convinced me. Dad, you've helped hundreds of students over the years. You've tutored kids for free. You've bought supplies with your own money. Let people give back. She was right. Within a week, former students, colleagues, neighbors, even some parents I barely remembered, donated. $5, $20, $100. Messages poured in. Mr. Fletcher changed my life. He stayed after school every day to help me with algebra when I was failing, sending love and prayers. Coach Fletcher believed in me when no one else did. Happy to help in his time of need. By the end of March, the fund had reached $82,000, more than double what I needed. I was overwhelmed, humbled. It wasn't just money. It was proof that I'd mattered to people. Lindsay called that night, excited for the first time in months. Dad, I saw the GoFundMe. That's amazing. So much money. It's incredible, I said. I'm going to use what I need for treatment and then donate the rest to the hospital's cancer research fund. Silence on the line. Wait, you're giving it away? Whatever's left over, yes. That's the right thing to do. But Dad, you could use that money. You could finally fix the roof, or upgrade your car, or, I don't know, enjoy life a little. Lindsay, people donated for medical bills, not luxuries. Okay. Whatever. Hey, actually, since you're going to be managing all that money, would you mind if I helped? You know, with the account, you're going to be sick from chemo. And it might be hard to keep track of everything. I'm good with numbers. I could handle the admin stuff. I should have heard the alarm bells. But I was tired, scared, and foolishly, I still believed my daughter wanted to help me, not herself. That would be helpful, sweetie. Thank you. She came over the next day with paperwork. Added herself as a secondary user on the account. Just so I can see the transactions and help organize receipts for your taxes, she explained. I signed. My first chemo session was April 3rd. Emma took me, sat with me through the 5-hour infusion, held my hand when the nausea started, drove me home and stayed the night on the couch, checking on me every few hours. Lindsay texted, "Thinking of you." The second session was April 17th. Emma took me again. This time, the side effects were worse. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, lost 8 pounds in 10 days, but I kept checking the GoFundMe account, watching the small donations still trickle in. It gave me hope. Then, on May 2nd, I noticed something odd. The balance seemed lower than I remembered. I was foggy from medication, so I assumed I was misremembering. But on May 9th, after another chemo session left me bedridden for 3 days, I forced myself to review the account carefully. My stomach dropped. 7 transactions. 7 withdrawals. All made by Lindsay. April 6th. $5,000. Memo. Venue deposit. April 13th. $12,000. Memo. Wedding dress and alterations. April 23rd, $15,000. Memo. Photographer and videographer package. April 27th, $8,000. Memo. Catering advance. May 1st, $22,000. Memo. Honeymoon to Maldives. May 4th, $11,000. Memo. Flowers and decor. May 8th, $9,417. Memo. Final payments and tips. $82,417. Almost everything. For her wedding. I sat there in my living room, my body weak from poison pumping through my veins to kill the cancer trying to kill me, staring at my phone. At first, I thought it was a mistake. A hack. Identity theft. It had to be. Then I saw the dates. The memos. The pattern. She'd waited until after my chemo sessions, when she knew I'd be too sick to monitor the account closely. She'd planned this. My daughter had stolen my cancer fund to pay for her wedding. I called her 12 times. Straight to voicemail. I texted. No response. Finally, at 11 p.m., she replied, "Super busy with wedding planning. Talk later." I didn't sleep that night. I ran through every excuse, every justification she might have. Maybe she'd meant to pay it back. Maybe Tyler didn't know. Maybe she thought I didn't really need it since insurance covered most costs. Maybe she thought the donations were so generous that a little skimming wouldn't matter. But $82,000 isn't skimming. It's theft. The next morning, Emma came by to check on me. She found me at the kitchen table, laptop open, staring at the account. She saw my face and knew immediately something was catastrophically wrong. "Dad, what happened?" I showed her, watched her face transform from confusion to horror to rage. "She took your cancer fund? For her wedding? I don't understand," I whispered. "How could she? She's a narcissist, Dad. She's always been a narcissist. You just never wanted to see it." Emma was pacing now, hands shaking. "Do you know what she told me last week? She said you were being dramatic about the cancer. She said stage 2 is basically nothing, and you'd be fine. She said you'd probably have money left over anyway. So what did it matter if she used some of it?" "She said that to you?" I told her she was insane. We got in a huge fight. She blocked my number. Emma sat down, grabbed my hands. "Dad, you have to report this. This is theft. Fraud. She can't get away with this. She's my daughter. She's a thief who stole from her dying father. I'm not dying. You know what I mean." I looked at Emma. 25 years old, working 60-hour weeks, saving other people's parents, while her own sister was stealing from hers. The wrong daughter turned out right. "I need to think," I said. "But here's what I was really thinking. Lindsay wasn't 12 years old anymore. She wasn't the little girl in pigtails who'd cried when I couldn't afford the expensive birthday party all her friends were having. She was a 28-year-old woman who'd looked at my cancer, at the generosity of hundreds of people who cared about me, and saw only an opportunity. She'd counted on my love, my weakness, my inability to treat my own daughter like the criminal she'd become. She thought I was too sick, too old, too afraid of losing her completely to fight back. She was wrong about all of it. Over the next 3 days, I made phone calls. Quiet ones. While Emma was at work, and Lindsay was presumably picking out wedding favors with my stolen money. First, I called Marcus Chen, a lawyer who'd been a student of mine 15 years ago. He specialized in family law and estate planning. When I explained the situation, he was silent for a long moment. "Mr. Fletcher, I'm so sorry. This is really bad, but also potentially criminal. She's not just on the account as a manager. She withdrew funds for personal use without your permission. What are my options? You could file a police report, press charges for theft and fraud. With documentation, it's pretty open and shut. She'd likely face felony charges, given the amount. But she's my daughter." "Yes. And prosecution would destroy your relationship permanently. It would also be public. Very public. The press would love this story. What else? Civil lawsuit. Sue her for the full amount, plus damages. Less criminal, but still public and permanent damage to the relationship. And if I do nothing, then she gets away with it. And Mr. Fletcher, speaking as your former student and your lawyer, people like this don't stop. This is who she is. If you let this slide, she'll do it again. To you, to Emma, to whoever else she can exploit. I need time to think. You have time. But not much. The wedding is when? June 15th? That's 6 weeks away. Every day that passes is a day she's spending more of what she stole. I thanked him and hung up. Then I called Sarah Bishop, a private investigator Emma had mentioned once. Sarah's husband had been a patient at St. Joseph's. She owed Emma a favor. Mr. Fletcher, Emma's told me about you. I'm so sorry about your diagnosis. How can I help? I explained. Sarah listened without interrupting. I need to know everything, I said. Where the money went. What she bought. Proof that she knew exactly what she was doing. Give me a week. She called back in 5 days. What she'd found made my remaining hair stand up. Lindsay hadn't just stolen the money. She'd bragged about it. In her private Instagram close friends story, she'd posted photos of the venue, the dress, the honeymoon itinerary, and in the captions, when your dad's cancer comes with a silver lining and manifesting abundance, even in dark times, number blessed. She'd also told Tyler the truth. Sarah had recorded a conversation between them at a coffee shop. Tyler was uncomfortable with it, but Lindsay had convinced him. Dad has insurance. He doesn't actually need all that money. People donated way more than necessary. I'm technically family, so it's kind of family money anyway. Plus, we'll pay him back eventually. Probably. If we can. Sarah sent me everything. Photos, videos, bank statements. A full dossier of my daughter's betrayal. I sat with it for 2 days. Part of me wanted to pretend I'd never seen it, to let her have the wedding, to preserve some semblance of a relationship, even if it was built on my pretending not to know what she was. But then, I had my 3rd chemo session, and as Emma held my hand while poison dripped into my veins, while my body convulsed with nausea, while I wondered if I'd live to see another year, I thought about those messages. When your dad's cancer comes with a silver lining, and I realized I didn't have a daughter named Lindsay anymore. That person was gone, if she'd ever existed. What I had was a stranger wearing my daughter's face, willing to profit from my suffering. I hadn't a mentor to definitely, so I made my decision. I called Marcus back. I want to do something different. Not criminal charges. Not a lawsuit. Something else. I'm listening. Lindsay's wedding is June 15th. That's 42 days away. Thanks for watching. Then I'll know. I have 42 days to use the legal system, my resources, and her own greed against her. I want to take everything from her the way she tried to take everything from me, but I want to do it in a way that leaves her with a choice at the end, a chance to prove she's not completely irredeemable. Mr. Fletcher, are you asking me to help you orchestrate revenge? I'm asking you to help me teach my daughter a lesson about consequences, the way I should have years ago. Silence. Then, what did you have in mind? Here's what we did. First, Marcus filed paperwork with the bank documenting the unauthorized use of funds. Not a police report yet, but close. It flagged Lindsay's account and created a legal paper trail. She had no idea. Second, Sarah contacted every vendor Lindsay had booked. The venue, the photographer, the caterer, the florist, the travel agency. Sarah explained the situation, showed them the evidence that the funds were stolen, and offered them a choice. Cancel Lindsay's contracts and refund the money to the cancer fund, or be named as accomplices in a lawsuit for receiving stolen goods. Every single one of them canceled. The venue, the photographer, the caterer, all of it. Within a week, $47,000 was refunded back to the cancer account. The rest, the money Lindsay had already spent on the dress, the rings, various deposits that were non-refundable. I took out a loan against my house to cover the difference. I wasn't going to let other people's donations disappear because of my failure as a parent. But here's the thing. I didn't tell Lindsay any of this was happening. She had no idea that her wedding was systematically being dismantled. Third, and this is where Emma came in. I did something I'd been planning for months anyway. Emma had been dating a wonderful man named James for 3 years. A physician's assistant at her hospital. Kind. Thoughtful. The kind of man who remembered my birthday and asked how I was feeling after chemo. The kind of man who'd proposed to Emma 2 months ago with his grandmother's ring. Emma wanted a small wedding. Dad, you're going through treatment. Money is tight. James and I don't need anything fancy. We just want to be married. But she deserved more than small. She deserved the world. So I called her. Emma, how would you feel about getting married on June 15th? Dad, that's so soon. I don't think we can plan. What if it was already planned? Venue booked. Photographer hired. Caterer lined up. Flowers ordered. Everything taken care of. How would that even be possible? Let me worry about the how. I'm asking about the, would you want to? She was crying. Dad, we can't afford that. You need that money for, the money is handled. This is my gift to you. To the daughter who stayed, who cared, who showed me what love actually looks like. So, what do you say? Will you marry James on June 15th? Yes. God. Yes. But I don't understand how you will. Soon. 4th. And this was the nuclear option Marcus advised against. I sent copies of everything to Tyler's family. The bishops were old money. Conservative. Proper. They'd been uncomfortable with Lindsay from the start, but Tyler loved her, so they tolerated her. When they saw the evidence, when they read those Instagram captions, when they understood that their future daughter-in-law had stolen from her cancer-stricken father, they gave Tyler an ultimatum. End this engagement, or you're out of the family trust. Tyler chose the trust. Broke up with Lindsay on June 1st, exactly 2 weeks before the wedding. And that's when everything collapsed for Lindsay. She called me, hysterical. Dad, Tyler left me. I don't know what happened. He just said he couldn't marry me. The wedding is in 2 weeks. I'm sorry to hear that, sweetie. What am I going to do? The venue, the photographer, all the deposits. Have you checked with your vendors recently? What? No, why would I? Everything was confirmed weeks ago. You might want to call them. I hung up. She called the venue first. They told her the contract was canceled, funds refunded. She called the photographer. Same thing. The caterer. The florist. One by one, her wedding evaporated. She finally understood something was wrong when she went to the travel agency to confirm the honeymoon. They explained that her booking had been canceled and the money refunded to a cancer fund account. That's when she called me back. I recovered the money you stole from me. I didn't steal. You gave me access to that account to help manage it, not to buy yourself a wedding while I was vomiting from chemotherapy. I was going to pay you back. With what money, Lindsay? You don't have a job. You borrowed $82,000 from your dying father without asking. That's called theft. Dying? You're not dying. It's stage 2. That's like nothing. And there it was. The truth she'd been hiding behind all her excuses. Goodbye, Lindsay. Wait. Dad. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'll make it right. Just please, don't do this to me. I already did. I hung up. She called 47 more times. I didn't answer. Things then. I was in the way. June 15th arrived. Emma wore a simple ivory dress, nothing expensive. She didn't need elaborate because she was luminous. Emma. Sometime, James cried when he saw her. I walked her down the aisle, at the same botanical garden venue Lindsay had originally booked. Emma had no idea until we arrived that this was meant to be her sister's wedding. When she saw the space, the setup, The photographer I'd rehired. She stopped. Dad. This. Your sister's wedding. That she paid for with stolen money. That I recovered and repurposed. For you. For the daughter who deserves it, she sobbed. We both did. The ceremony was beautiful. Intimate. 40 guests. Mostly Emma's friends and colleagues. No Instagram stories. No performance. Just love. Lindsay showed up. I don't know how she found out, but she appeared at the venue gates, screaming. Security kept her out. But I could hear her. From inside. That's my wedding. My dress. My day. Emma heard it too. For a moment, I saw her falter. We can stop this, I said. Emma looked at James. Looked at me. Looked toward the gates, where her sister was screaming. Then, she smiled. No. This is exactly where I want to be. With exactly who I want to be with. She made her choices. This is her consequence. After the wedding, after Emma and James left for their honeymoon to Turks and Caicos, paid for with money I'd saved for Emma's education but never needed because she got scholarships, I sat in my empty house. The one Lindsay used to visit only when she needed money, the one that would go to Emma now. Not split 50-50 like I'd originally planned. Marcus called. Lindsay filed a police report against you. For theft. I laughed. Actually laughed. Let me guess. It went nowhere. The detective saw the documentation. Told her she's lucky you're not pressing charges against her. She's facing potential fraud charges if Tyler's family decides to pursue it. They haven't yet. But they're considering. And Emma? Emma is on her honeymoon. Blissfully unaware of the drama. As she should be. I hung up and looked at the cancer fund account. $9,000 remained after covering Emma's wedding. I donated it all to St. Joseph's Hospital Cancer Research Fund in Emma's name. Then, I did one more thing. I wrote a letter to Lindsay. Not an email. Not a text. A handwritten letter, mailed to her apartment. Dear Lindsay, you're probably wondering if I hate you. I don't. Hate requires caring. And I've spent all the caring I had for you. What I feel now is pity. You had everything. A father who loved you. A sister who defended you. A fiancé who wanted to build a life with you. A community of people who watched you grow up and wished you well. And you threw it all away because you couldn't see past your own reflection. I didn't destroy your life. You did. I just stopped enabling you to destroy mine in the process. The money you stole went to something worthwhile. Emma's wedding. She's the daughter I should have prioritized years ago. She's the one who stayed by my bedside, who held my hand, who loved me not for what I could give her, but for who I am. You wanted a fairy tale wedding. You got one. Just not yours. I'm not pressing charges. Not because you deserve mercy, but because I'm tired. I'm 63 years old. I have cancer. Whatever time I have left, I'm not spending it in courtrooms fighting my own daughter. But we're done. You're not in my will. You're not welcome in my home. When I die, Emma will handle my affairs. You'll get nothing. That's not revenge. That's reality. That's what happens when you bite the hand that fed you for 28 years. I hope someday you understand what you lost. I hope you become someone capable of feeling that loss. I hope you change. But I won't be around to see it. Goodbye, Lindsay. Dad. I never heard back from her. Emma told me months later that Lindsay had moved to Los Angeles, trying to reboot her influencer career. She deleted all her old posts. Started fresh with a new persona. No mention of family. No mention of Michigan. Tyler married someone else a year later. I got an invitation. Didn't go, but I sent a gift. My cancer went into remission after 8 months of treatment. Dr. Stevens called it remarkable. I called it spite. I wasn't going to let Lindsay outlive me without living long enough to know she lost everything. Now, I'm 64. I've been cancer-free for 7 months. Emma visits every Sunday with James and my grandson, born last April. They named him Robert. When Emma told me, I cried so hard I thought I'd broken something inside myself. You didn't have to do that, I said. Yes, I did. You're the man I want him to be like. The man who taught me that love isn't enabling, that forgiveness isn't the same as accepting abuse, that sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same thing. People ask me if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled things differently, if I miss Lindsay. The truth? I miss who I thought she was, the daughter I imagined I was raising. But that person never existed. She was a fantasy I constructed to avoid seeing the reality. Do I regret using her wedding against her? No, because it wasn't her wedding. It was paid for with stolen money. It was never hers to begin with. I just returned it to someone who'd actually earned it. Do I regret cutting her off completely? Sometimes. Late at night, when my phone doesn't ring, when I think about the little girl who used to fall asleep on my lap, watching Disney movies. But then I remember the Instagram caption, when your dad's cancer comes with a silver lining, and I remember that little girl is dead, has been for years. I was just too stubborn to admit it. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. Because the alternative was teaching her that there are no consequences, that theft is acceptable if you're family, that my love was so desperate, so pathetic, that she could take everything and I'd still welcome her home. I'm not that father anymore. I'm the father who shows up for Emma, who babysits his grandson, who donates to cancer research, who finally learned that sometimes loving someone means letting them face the consequences of who they chose to become. Lindsay wanted a fairy tale. She got one. Just not the ending she expected. And me? I got the family I always deserved. It's smaller now. Quieter. But it's real. And after 64 years, I've learned that real is better than big. That quality beats quantity. That blood doesn't make family. Loyalty does. I'm at peace with my decisions. The cancer might come back. At my age, with my history, it probably will. But when it does, I'll face it surrounded by people who actually love me. Not my money. Not what I can do for them. Me. That's worth more than any wedding, any Instagram post, any illusion of a perfect family. I chose reality over fantasy. Emma over Lindsay. Justice over peace. And I'd make that choice again. Every single time.